welcome back to my channel and welcome back to day 6 in palette week, where every single day for 7 straight days I am posting some sort of palette themed content. And I'm very excited because today I'm going to be ranking my 20 spooky season palettes for you today. So I have 20 eyeshadow palettes in my collection that I would consider spooky season appropriate, if you will. Some of them are very obviously themed around this spooky season. Some of them are just palettes that I feel like kind of fit the vibe, fit the tones outside. And I also just love chit-chatting about eyeshadow palettes, and ranking always makes it just like a little bit more fun, a little bit more stressful for me, but like a little bit more fun, right? So that is what we're going to be doing today. Some of these are pretty new to my collection and some of them have been in my collection for several years. So if you're excited and interested to see how I would rank the 20 spooky eyeshadow palettes in my collection, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or just hanging out and chit-chatting about makeup, that is what we do over on this channel. So I hope you consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Okay, my clip doesn't want to stay in and it's making me annoyed. But it is like little skull hands, so obviously we have to wear it. We're gonna jump into the bottom ranked 20th spot, and unfortunately that is gonna have to go to my Nomad Ghost Town eyeshadow palette. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy this palette. I do like the color story, but I had to rank this one at the bottom because in terms of the quality of all of the other eyeshadow palettes that I'm ranking, this one is lacking the most in quality. I really struggled with a lot of the matte shadows in here, specifically like the entire row of matte blues, and then these two like green shades I just feel like are extremely patchy, extremely powdery, don't blend well together, and I just got extremely frustrated when trying to create looks with this palette, specifically with the mattes. These shimmer metallics are kind of that like creamy, ultra metallic, almost like, almost like I'm like, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like molten metallic. I really enjoy this palette for the like shimmer and special shades, which is kind of why I keep this palette around. I also love Nomad's packaging. I love their theming. In terms of like packaging and shimmer shades, really love this, but this had to get the bottom ranked spot because of the quality of the mattes. This next one is actually an anti-Valentine's Day palette, but I feel like it kind of fits the spooky theme. And for me, the reason this one's ranking at number 19 is truly just a color story thing, but I thought I would include my Bella Beauté Bar Dead Roses eyeshadow palette in this spooky themed video because like Dead Roses I feel like kind of go with the spooky theme. This is, as I mentioned, an anti-Valentine's Day palette, so the color story is very pink, red, burgundy. And the couple of multi-chromes in here are those multi-chromes that on my eyes I feel like just don't look quite right. Like they're really beautiful to swatch on an arm, but then on the eyes they just like don't hit the light right. And I feel like specifically like the shade Ew ends up looking like just like a bruised eye. So not the best for that. I do like to pair some of these like lighter shimmers with like neutral looks. I also do really like these two matte shadows right here. It just, this one really is just a color story thing for me. It's just not my perfect color story. Coming in at number 18, I have the Odin's Eye Original Hella palette, and I do like this palette. For me, I just like so many of my other palettes just a little bit more. I feel like maybe they have more special shades, or this one in terms of color story isn't necessarily what I think of when I think of like a spooky themed color story. So that's why I ranked this one at number 19. I do still think this is a beautiful palette. The shade Double Sided I absolutely love. I actually do have a pan in this one. That one's a beautiful inner corner. I also love the shade River. And honestly, for the springtime, I do like these top two rows as well. But in terms of spooky season, I had to rank this one a little bit lower just due to color story for me and my preferences. And then coming in at number 17, this one is really new to my collection. This is the Melt 12th Hour stack. And the reason I am including this in my spooky season palette ranking is the names of these shadows. I'm just showing you guys all of the colors here. We have Nocturnal, Witching Hour, Sin, Omen, Past Dusk, 6 Feet Under. You guys get the gist. So I also feel like 12th Hour is just like spooky, right? Listen, I'm not the spookiest of spooky girls, but I have only used this one time. I actually used this for a get ready with me that I filmed yesterday that'll be going up after this video, and I struggled with the mattes in this. I think that the shimmers are beautiful. As I wore this throughout the day, I actually liked my eye look. I think it's one of those things where I'm just so used to indie shadows and the like impactful punch that it gives on the eyes, that some days when I reach into something that isn't maybe quite as punchy or impactful on the eyes, it just feels a little bit less special. And I did struggle a bit with the mattes. I was getting extremely frustrated working with some of these mattes, which is sometimes what I find does happen with Melt Cosmetics formula. I just realized I didn't include the Melt Gemini, but that doesn't really have like a spooky theme. It is a palette that I do think fits the seasonal vibes this time of year. Anyway, 12th hour is getting ranked 20, 19, 18, at 17. At number 17. Then coming in at number 16, I have the Lil Ghost eyeshadow palette, which was the second Halloween collection that Odin's Eye and Angie did, and I actually do really enjoy this palette. I created some looks with this that I really loved. I followed one of Angie's tutorials where she did like a cranberry type of, like cranberry on the outer part of the lid and then like minty blue on the inner part of the lid, and I loved that. I thought that was so pretty. I love some of the different tones and shadows in here. I like that we have like this lighter lavender shade. I really enjoy the shade Boo. I also love blues, clearly, so like the shade Creepy I really enjoy. Also Ominous for like just like the perfect kind of this season type of purple. I actually do think this is a really fun palette. I enjoy my time with this. I don't really have issues with quality with this one as I do some other Odin's Eye palettes, but I do just love the things ranking about this, obviously just a little bit more. And then coming in at number 15, I have the companion to that. This is the Trick or Treat palette. I think this is such a fun palette. I love this Kelly green shade right here. This is the shade Witch's Brew. I actually do have a pan on that shade. I love that shade. I think it's such a fun, special, unique green to my collection, and I just really enjoy reaching into that one. I also like this palette because it can lean a little bit more neutral. Like you can reach into some of the shades on these top two rows and really do something a little bit more like daytime appropriate, or just a little bit more neutral. I'm a green loving girl too, so I like even like the shade Crypt Keeper down here. I think is so fun, and I definitely don't have like a matte bright green like this in my collection elsewhere, so I do really enjoy this palette as well. I think this is a fun one. I like this one just a teeny tiny bit more than the Trick or Treat palette, than the Lil Ghost, honestly, mostly because I truly just love the shade Witch's Brew, but I do like the yellows on top as well. So this is my number 15. Coming in at number 14, I have the Lethal Cosmetics Midnight Serenade palette. I don't know if this was meant to be like a spooky themed palette, but there are shade names in here such as Omen, Hypnotic, Obsidian, Blood Moon. So I felt like it fit the theme. I also feel like the shades in here kind of give that like witchy, like fortune teller. I don't know, there's something about this that kind of just gives spooky season vibes in my opinion. If you guys have heard me talk about this palette before, then you know I do enjoy this palette. However, in terms of longevity and wear time, I just think there are definitely some improvements that could have been made in this palette. I wore the shade Enchantress to work one day and loved the way that my makeup looked when I got to work, but like around the lunch hour, I feel like my eyeshadow had completely dulled and almost worn away. And so that was just a little bit disappointing. I still think there's beautiful, really fun shades in here. And if I don't need my makeup to last all day, this is a fun palette to reach for. But I couldn't rank this one higher simply because I am just disappointed in the wear time that I get from this palette. Coming in at number 13, I have the Bella Beauté Bar Strange and Unusual eyeshadow palette. I think this is a really fun eyeshadow palette, but there's just some other color stories I feel more confident and comfortable dipping into. I look into this palette and I feel a little bit stumped in just what I feel comfortable creating with this. I will say, if you're an Iowa State Hawkeyes fan, Iowa State, right? Iowa Cyclones. Iowa State maybe are the Hawk. No, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Iowa? Is it Iowa and then Iowa State? If you're a Cyclones fan, this is perfect for game day. Perfect for game day. This row. I also love the bright green here, Recently Deceased. Like, what a fun shade. I also enjoy the matte white. It's a good matte white to have, but obviously you can get matte whites in other palettes. The shade Sandworm is just right up my alley in one of those kind of like ethereal blue-green aquamarine sort of shadows. I absolutely love that. I also feel like I need to dip back into this because the shade Delia, like this purple, I feel like is such a good purple for this time of year. I do just have some other palettes though that I enjoy reaching into more than this one. So this is my 13 I think. Coming in at number 12, I don't think this was meant to be a spooky season palette either, but I feel like this is so fitting for the spooky season. This is the Blend Bunny Beauty Below palette. I feel like this is like spooky mermaid. And when you look at some of the shade names, we have the shade Devour, Entrapment, Deadly Fate, Abduction, Her Prey. I had to include this palette in here. Now, I did buy this earlier this year when this launched. I haven't used every single shade. I do still have, I believe, like this quad of shades up here. This is just something that's a little bit more outside of my comfort zone this year than has been in years past. I definitely haven't been playing around with color as much this year. I know I have color on my eyes today, but today was like, this is like the first time I've done like something like this in what feels like a really long time. My other just, not nitpicky thing, but the other thing I find difficult sometimes about reaching into this palette is just that it is such a deep palette and there's not a lot or really any like lighter shades. So I feel like I need to dip into other palettes. Now I still do really enjoy this. There's some really fun shades in here, and I like that this is a little bit different than what Blend Bunny has typically done in the past. Some of my favorite shades that I've reached into are Lullin Slay, which is this really beautiful purple. I also love the shade Mesmerizing. It's a really beautiful kind of like green red brownie sort of shade, like kind of their twist on a green brown shade. It's so freaking pretty. Also Immerse, we know I love blues, so I've had a lot of fun playing with this. But as of this moment, I couldn't rank this above number 12. Coming in at number 11, I have the Enchanted Autumn palette, which isn't necessarily like a spooky themed palette, but it did launch around Halloween last year. And I just feel like this has like, again, kind of the spooky season colors. This was Fantasy Cosmetica's collaboration with Amanda from Makeup Just for Fun, and I think this is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. I love the shade Libra. This is such a special silver shade. It has like this twinkle of like a light blue periwinkle to it. I think it is absolutely stunning. I also really enjoy the shade Emerald down here. Sometimes I also look into this and feel slightly stumped and feel like, you know, aside from this shade, there's not a lot of light shades in here too. So sometimes I feel like I have to dip into something else just to lighten a look. But I still think this is beautiful. I really enjoy this. This is something I still want to pull out before the season is over, or at least maybe by the end of November. Right now, that's my number 11. Coming in at number 12, I have the Divination palette, which was another Blend Bunny palette. This one was in collaboration with Robert Welsh, and this is such a fun, colorful palette. I love that we have a couple of rows of neutrals though as well. So if you don't want like a rainbow palette like Blend Bunny sometimes has been known for, you do have a row of like brown neutrals, and then you have a row of smoky tone neutrals as well. I definitely meant to pull this out and play with this more this summer, and unfortunately that just didn't happen. But I am so excited about the bright colors up here as well. Blend Bunny mattes are some of the best mattes on the market in my opinion. I love the way that this palette is laid out. I love that we have a shimmer on each end, and then it kind of goes from light to dark. And so if you don't necessarily feel comfortable maybe creating your own looks, I don't know, you can just kind of like follow the rows, which I think is really nice. I do really enjoy this palette. It definitely has been neglected in my collection and has not gotten enough love, but I would be ranking this one at number 10 today. Coming in at number 9, this one is new to my collection. I reached for this the other day, and again, it's not necessarily a spooky theme, but I feel like this is the perfect palette for this time of year. It's the Unearthly Murky Meadow palette, and I will say some of the names in here, we have Ominous Oak, Tangled Thorns, Dreaded Dew, Haunted Hollow. This is just like my perfect palette this year, I feel like. Again, I haven't been reaching for a ton of color, but I love the grunginess of this eyeshadow palette. And it's unearthly, so just like their special shades are so special. The shade Forest Flicker is such a beautiful sparkly like golden orangey yellow shade. It's such a beautiful shade. I really, really love this. I've only reached for it one time. I've used every single shade though, except for Dreaded Dew and Silent Woods. So I feel like I've used the majority of this palette, and already I want to reach into it again and create more looks, even though I have so many other new palettes to test and try. It's so pretty. Such a fun 9-pan palette in my opinion. I love that we have the like pop of bright yellow. That's a matte. Like, love that. My current number 9. Number 8 is what's on my eyes today, and I will admit this is my first time reaching into this, but I know I love Unearthly's formula. I could be a little bit biased, but I had to rank this one at number 8. It's the Gargoyle palette. You guys have been telling me I need to get this palette since this palette launched last year. And one, I'm just mad that I waited this long, but I had so much fun creating this look today. It's definitely something very much outside of my comfort zone, but I do love blues. I used Dismal Sky today. This is such a beautiful shade. I mentioned I love like a blue-green aquamarine sort of shade, and so the shade Eerie Echoes, so freaking pretty. And I don't always gravitate towards purples, but I also used the shade Mystic Stone today, which I feel like is such a beautiful kind of like enchanted purple pink, kind of like princessy sort of shade. I feel like it would be really beautiful with like a cool toned matte look. That would be something very easy for, at least I would feel confident getting away with something like that for work. I'm so excited to continue to dig into this palette. I love that we have a row of more neutral tones up top, so this is something I feel like I can reach for week to week, like to potentially create work appropriate looks. And Unearthly makes such special shades, and they do have a wonderful matte formula as well. Really, really enjoy their palettes, and I'm definitely pleased that I finally got my hands on the Gargoyle palette. Coming in at number 7 is another Unearthly palette. This is the Just a Taste eyeshadow palette. This launched last holiday season, and I think this is such a fun color story. Like, this is kind of spooky themed, but then it kind of has like holiday colors as well with the greens and the reds. Some of there's just special shades in here, like Mossy Grave, again, just for like some of the like greens that I love. Moonlit Veil is so beautiful. Haunted Heart is like one of those like ethereal pink and blue sparkly shades that just looks so wet and like veil like on your lids. It's such a pretty shade. I love that. I also do really like a pink gold shifty sort of shadow, and so Mortal Dusk I'm really into. I feel like there's just such a fun selection of colors in this palette and quite a variety of different ways you could take this. So I am ranking this one at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I have another one from Fantasy Cosmetica. This is the Harvest of Souls palette. This was the first time that they were launching a 16-pan palette. This is their largest palette that they had launched. I don't know if they've done a 16-pan since, but I thought this was such a unique way to lay the palette out. I like that we kind of have it laid out in these like quads of colors. So again, if you struggle to kind of come up with looks on your own, I feel like it's so easy to just follow the quads and create looks. I like that we have fun greens with this bright matte poison shade. You know, I keep saying I love blues. So the shade Immortality and Souls, these two special shimmery blues, they're so beautiful. They are so beautiful. Then I also even love this purple quad up here. I love a lavender. Lavender is like my favorite color in real life. So anytime there's a lavender, that just gets me. The shade Ethereal I think is such a beautiful cool toned purple that's pretty unique to my collection. I think this is a gorgeous palette, excellent quality, and currently my number 6. Coming in at number 5, I have my Unearthly Sorcerer's Smoke palette. Again, maybe not like totally spooky themed, but I love the colors in this. And then we have the shades, like shade names such as Nightshade, Ritual, Sorceress, Herbal Transfixed, Prophecy. And I love this palette because it is like a spicy neutrals palette with some greens. This is something that I could absolutely create day-to-day looks with, but then if I wanted to have some fun with color, but not like too much color, we've got the green, the pops of green. We also have this really beautiful peach matte in here. The special shades are just so special. Like I don't know what more I can say. It's just a really, really beautiful palette. So I'm ranking this one at number 5. And then 1 through 4 are all Bella Beauté bar palettes. Bella Beauté bar, I feel like they definitely love their spooky themed palettes. Bella Beauty is also one of my favorite brands, and I just really love my top 4. It was really hard for me to decide, like spots 3 and 4, I feel like I could interchange these like any given day, and then 1 and 2 are like, I'm like very solid in my ranking there. But my current number 4 is going to be the Recently De-Influenced palette. And you guys know I skipped this for a full year and then ended up picking it up last year, which was a year after it launched. And I am so glad that I ended up buying this because I love this. First of all, I'm a huge sports fan, so I love football, I love hockey. I've gone to several Wild hockey games since purchasing this palette, and I wear the shade Backlash all over my lids every single time. It is the most beautiful aquamarine green that I feel like is just perfect for Wild hockey games. It's so impactful on the lids. I think it's so stunning. One of my favorite looks that I created last year, I used this palette. I absolutely love this. My only thing with this one is I do like these. Like, I think these are unique shades. I do think there are definitely some differences amongst these two special shadows in terms of their shifts, but I am not the first person to reach into like reds and oranges, so, or like fuchsias here. So that's why this one's at number 4. And then my number 3 is the Vamp palette, which the Vamp palette totally surprised me in how much I loved this. I knew I was gonna buy this last year because it was Bella Beauty and I'm kind of a collector. I definitely skipped 2 palettes this year. I skipped the re-release of the Smoky Quartz, which I'm still definitely thinking about possibly picking up. And then mostly recently, I think the Dreamscape, was that the name of the palette? I skipped that. I do want to buy the one that releases today, which is the one, like the shining one. I forget what it's called though. We'll be buying that later. Anyway, last year I bought this, and like before they even showed the color story, I was like, oh, Vamp, I'm definitely getting that. I figured it was gonna be a lot of reds, and I was like, I know I'm probably not gonna get the most use out of it, but I'm still gonna buy it. I created a red look that I absolutely was so obsessed with last year, and then we know, did you know I love blues? Did you know I love blue eyeshadow, Zoe? No. You didn't know? I love blue eyeshadow. And so the shade Daylight Ring and then Claudia, oh, they're just so beautiful and so freaking special. Like, I just didn't know that like shimmery powder could like make me so happy, but those do. And then we even have the fun purples in here. The shade Skin of a Killer is such a beautiful, like, I don't even know how to describe it, just like sparkly, like lid topper. Like, it just, you can add Skin of a Killer to any look and it is just gonna add this beautiful sparkle. It's such a unique and such a special shade to have in my collection. I love the Vamp palette. Coming in at number 2 is my first ever Bella Beauty palette. It's the Basic Witch palette. I freaking love and adore this palette so much. Like, even just like opening this up and looking at it just makes me happy. I do have one shade that broke, unfortunately, but that's okay. I have done like a Beetlejuice inspired look with this that I had so much fun creating last year with the purples and this green. Every single summer I love reaching into the shade Incantation here with like a warm brown smoky eye. It's such a special shade. The shade Perfectly Wicked for like this fun, shifty, cooler toned pink. So pretty. It's just, there's so many different fun colors in here. I feel like it's such a unique color story. Perfect color story for the theme of Basic Witch. I absolutely love and adore this palette, and this is my number 2. And if you guys know, you know, I think you already knew / know what my number 1 is, but it is the Poison Garden palette. I fell in love with this eyeshadow palette last year. This was my top ranked palette of 2024, and I just love this. I just love this. Zoe, did you know I love blue eyeshadow?
No.
Oh, you didn't know? You don't remember?
No.
Well, I do love blue eyeshadow. And I love a cobalt blue. I love a bright pop of blue, especially kind of like nails and fashion. So love the cobalt blue pops here. The shade Poison Ivy is, oh my god. It is, I'm swatching it. I'm swatching it. Oh my god. Like, I love a blue brown shade too. And it's just like such a special, such a special blue brown. Just the special shades are so special in here. I love the color story too. I feel like there's just such a wide variety of different directions that you can take this palette. We've got the cobalt blue, we've got like pinks and purples and oranges and mustards and greens and blues. There's just so much you can do with this palette. It is absolutely stunning, and it reigns superior at my number one. And after that, you guys, that is going to wrap up and conclude today's spooky palette ranking. I would love to know how many spooky themed eyeshadow palettes you have in your collection and what your favorite is, or maybe what your least favorite is. Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.